Good morning, everybody. I am trying to be better about being deliberate and making sure I don't leave our supper time meal to being an afterthought. So today, I'm going ahead and getting things going right now. My son mentioned something about having some enchiladas, and I thought about making the whole enchilada meal. And it's not hard, it's just, it takes a little time. And so I thought, you know what? We used to make an enchilada crockpot meal. And it was really good and it was really simple. It's pretty much everything was the same except we put it in the crockpot and I didn't have to deal with it until supper and it was ready. So I'm gonna work on that and I'm gonna show you how to do it. And it may be a good meal for you guys to have during these busy days of spring. Okay, so Carly is making the enchilada sauce for us. And what that consists of is 2 cups of tomato sauce or puree. Then it has actually it has 1 tablespoon of chili powder, a half a teaspoon of cumin, a half a teaspoon of sage, a half a teaspoon of garlic powder, and a half teaspoon of onion powder. And all that gets mixed together, and that's going to be our enchilada sauce for when we do the layers in the casserole here in just a few minutes. And this meal is totally like a throw together, use what you got kind of thing. I've got a little bit of cheese here, but I'm going to get some more out of the freezer. I've got some leftover tortillas here and some lavish bread. I'm actually going to just cut that up and use it as layers in the crock pot as well. Over here I have some ground beef going with some onions. I'm gonna add some mushrooms. This actually was from a meal that I made recently. It's some ground beef with lentils and tomatoes and I think some corn and just different things in there. I'm going to add it to it because we have a big family and we eat a lot. And so I'm going to add that to it and we're going to just kind of bulk it up. Now I'm going to put you the exact recipe on the bottom, but I am showing you that I'm throwing a few things in there just in the mix because I have it. Let me say this. Ideally, I would use my own tortillas. Ideally, you know, I would use organic cheese, but this is real life and that's what I have is what I'm going to use. And I have these leftovers that need to be used. So I'm going to use that. And I have leftover food that needs to be used. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to incorporate it into our meal and it will work. Because I'm going to season it up completely different. And that's how it's going to work. So don't be afraid to repurpose. You know, just because you used it, I think I talked about this with the whole making things stretch video. Repurpose meals, especially right now. Don't let that food go to waste. It's too important. Even if it's not perfect ingredients, it's too important to just let it go to waste. Now, after I use these tortillas up, I probably won't buy any more. I can't say that I won't, but I probably won't. Because there's so many ways that I can make things myself. So that's what, you know, and teach the kids to make it. So that is, that's a goal of mine to get back to, because I used to not buy them at all, and then I got kind of lazy and got in the habit again. But so today we're going to use up what we have and make this meal, and it could be with any type of tortilla that you have, whether you've made it yourself or you have it from the store. But so I'm going to show you how I'm going to layer that up. Once I get the meat done, I've got the sauce done, we got the cheese out, we've got the tortillas. I'm going to leave the beans out and just use what we had already in that leftover mixture with, I think it had some white beans and lentils in it, because One of my kids don't love beans, but she has to eat them. So we're going to have some in there, but not tons. And then we're going to have some refried beans on the side. And hopefully I can find some guacamole in the freezer and dig that out, or some avocados, and dig those out and make that to go with it. And that's going to be so nice to have this in the crock pot, ready for supper, and I don't have to think about all that I need to do in the kitchen until that time. It's all done for me. So this little bit of pre-planning now saves me a headache in the future, and some stress, and a husband coming home and being hungry. So it's all a process of me just being aware and thinking ahead and planning. And it's gonna help everybody out. Okay, I've put just a little bit of the enchilada sauce in the bottom here so things don't stick. And this is my meat mixture. Remember I told you I added some leftovers to it, and I'll put the exact, whatever I normally do in the description. But this just has some meat or ground beef and onions, garlic. I added some mushrooms, and then my leftover mixture, and beans too. My leftover mixture had lentils and rice, and all that stuff works together. So we're gonna use it. So I'm gonna put a layer like that. We're basically making like a casserole or like a lasagna, but with Mexican flavors. And it's all got spices, and it's been spiced up with some cumin and some chili powder. Now this is my lavish bread, and since I am running low on shells, I'm just gonna tear it and make a layer. So like this would be my pasta. But see, this is what I'm saying. We're gonna use what we've got, and it's gonna work. So then I'm going to add some more enchilada sauce. More meat. And then after this layer, we're gonna add cheese. But I think of ways that I can stretch my meat, because we don't always have lots of meat, and because my guys like lots of meat, I find ways that I can stretch them, whether that be with lentils, whether it be with mushrooms, whether it be with rice, or whatever. Those are the things that I look for to try to help stretch a meal, but also not sacrifice on our flavor either. So this is probably about a cup of cheese, I guess, maybe a little less, and I'm just gonna sprinkle that over there. Again, we're using what we have, and this is what we have. I'm gonna take another lavish, cut it up, pull it apart, and layer it. And once this all bakes for several hours, and we cut it and eat it, it's just gonna be delicious. And like I said, I'm gonna serve this with some refried beans and hopefully some guacamole if I can find that, and fresh salsa. So there's that. Now we're gonna add some more of our meat mixture. And we're gonna continue doing this until we're at the very top, where we're going to finish off with cheese and enchilada sauce. And then we're going to put that in the crock pot, and we're gonna bake it until we're ready for supper on low. So let me end this by saying, do the best you can with what you've got. Strive for better when you can, but don't let not having the best make you feel that you can't do anything right now. we are all a process. We're growing, we're changing, we're getting better, and hopefully, and we're all trying and striving. So if my ingredients are not 100% whole foods worthy, that's okay. It's what I have. And I'll make better choices. I'll strive for better ingredients as money allows, because we can only do so much with what we have. My plans this year for the bigger garden is so we can have better quality foods. My plans with having more different grains and better fats in the house is so I can control what we eat. Doesn't mean that there'll never be a bag of chips. It doesn't mean that I won't ever have store-bought bread, because I will, I'm sure. But it's little baby steps. Don't be afraid if you can't do it all right away. And most everyone is not going to be able to do it all, even if they look like they are. It's a process, so don't be afraid. Just press on. Keep making good changes and good strides, and don't let not being able to do it all inhibit you from doing anything, because that can happen. So anyways, I'm going to share with you the entire recipe in the description. Like I said, I made a lot of substitutions. I made a lot of additions, and it's because what we had. But learn to do that. Learn to substitute. Learn to add in. Learn to bulk up, and it's just going to make you a better cook. And we'll get through with less waste. So I wish you a great day. My husband and son have been talking to me about trying to find a little cheesy tagline to add to the end of these. So I will say, thanks for spending some time with me today at home with Chas. Until next time, see y'all later.